I want to drill a bit deeper into that, because it seems like if you believe in the idea or you believe in the band, even if the crowd isn't liking that music or liking that idea, it seems like you have some ability to stay true to your belief in that product or idea or that band or that thing that's pulling you towards it.
Oh, no. In my case, well, I would just get ideas. Long. There were about 10 years, and 5 years before Apple at least, where I had ideas and ideas and ideas. I just wanted to build new things. And every time I sat down, it was like, I don't care how it's been done in the past. I don't need to know that. I don't copy books. I don't use book learning, school learning. I use my self-taught how to use fewer parts and be less money and take different approaches than everyone else, way out of the book. Just things that would be invalid by current engineering principles, and that's just how I thought. I can't do that anymore. I look back at my early work and I say, for about 10 years of my life, where did those ideas and that thinking come from? How are you able to do that? And I have no idea. I like to think it's like Bob Dylan during his, some of his important albums with the magic that was pouring out of his brain.
And it was magic. I mean, let's talk about the Apple II. Before that, it was such a disruptive idea, a computer on a desk. Before it was like computers were the size of a military base. They were massive, and no one had really thought about color and using symbols. And I mean, you brought color into it, and you brought those icons into it, and you made it small, and there was almost nothing like it. Was that just pure inspiration, or was that you just going, I need to totally disrupt anything that's been done?
Well, first of all, you had total freedom in those days to build anything you wanted for yourself. I had told my dad in high school I was going to own a 4K computer someday, because a 4K computer could let you write programs, type in programs and get answers and solve things. And I loved doing that with computers. And my dad said, cost as much as a house. And I said, I'll live in an apartment. I was going to have my own computer, and I had the skills to build it. In high school, I could design any computer in the world in 2 days. Almost every weekend, I designed another computer that I got a manual for. IBM, Varian, Hewlett-Packard, Digital Equipment, Data General. I would design those computers, and so I didn't think that skill was ever going to be worth anything. It was just fun. Now came a time we had a club of people talking about we're starting a revolution. People are going to be able to communicate so fast that you'll type a message and within 1 hour, 60 people can read it. And education's going to be like never before, because you'll answer a question and get told right away if it's right or wrong. We had Stanford professors and Berkeley professors in our club talking about the social revolution. My ability was I saw the idea to build the affordable computer that could do useful work. The one that I wanted. I could build it, so of course I did. And one of the things was in my head, a computer. I had designed games. Even for Atari, I designed Breakout, and I designed my own Pong game before that. I said, people aren't going to buy a computer in the home for inventory numbers and sales figures. You don't do that at home. You need a game. Games are going to sell computers for the home. Has to be a game machine. And so I sat down. The first one I started, I said, you know what? I've only programmed in scientific languages on a computer. Scientific languages called Fortran, PL1, ALGOL. BASIC was a little kid's language I'd never used, but I knew that there was a book called 101 Games in BASIC. Bill Gates had written a BASIC. BASIC was going to be the selling factor for games in the home. So I learned the language BASIC. I read a Hewlett-Packard manual. I started writing down my charts and programmed a BASIC into the computer. It was a lot more work than designing the computer, but that was a start. Now, color, I was at Atari once, and I was up 4 days and nights because I was doing a game that a prototype normally takes months, did it in 4 days and nights. I don't know how I got it done. No sleep. Steve Jobs and I both got mononucleosis, the sleeping sickness, with our immune systems down. And while I was there, I thought I saw colors on a screen. All the arcade games, Atari in Los Gatos, California, where I live now, was starting the arcade industry. Every arcade game was hardware design, where it took months to design it, and it was black and white. They didn't know how to make it color, and it was too expensive to do color. But I thought I saw color, and I started thinking in my head, and an answer came out. Normally it costs, you take a number like 3, and it stands for red. And you put 3 into a machine, and it puts 3 on a screen. It puts red on a TV screen. And in thinking about how the signals in the TV worked, I knew analog engineering. I had a ham radio license back when I was 10 years old. And then thinking about the new digital world where you could buy little $1 chips that held little numbers like 3. And 3 in a chip is 0011. 00 is down, like minus voltage of a battery. 11 is plus. Put it on a wire, down, up, at the right speed. And I said, oh my gosh, every color TV in the world is going to think it's color. But it doesn't match any engineering books. The engineering books teach all these ways to take sine waves and calculus design circuits, differential calculus. That's what I've been trained to do. And that's the way you build color, and it costs $1,000 to create the minimum machine that makes color. And here I had an idea that you don't even put a machine into color. You take the number and feed the number into the TV on a wire, and it is color. Don't ask me how I thought that way, but I knew it would work. But color was going to be important to games, but another thing was arcade games. You had to be able to sit down and type in commands, vertical equals 1, vertical equals 2, vertical equals 3, and a 9-year-old could make things move on a TV screen. And moving at realistic speeds meant making instead of a display having its own memory to remember what's on the display, make it part of the computer memory. The computer can update 100,000 dots a second, and things can move on a screen. And so now I had, the first time ever, arcade machines were color. The first time ever, arcade machines were software. This was such a breakthrough. Steve Jobs and I were we were chilled, and we weren't going to give this one away for free like I'd given away the Apple I.